Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So in today's video I'm going to discuss and go through each and every signing we made throughout the January transfer window, give them all a sort of individual rating and just discuss them briefly, and at the end I will give a full rating on what I believe or how we did in the January transfer window as a whole. So of course as well, you guys let me know in the comments down below how well you think we did in the January transfer window, which one you think was the best signing, etc, etc, etc. So let's get straight into it. So the first signing we did make was Kyle Lafferty, striker Kyle Lafferty, who for me, I don't think he was the right kind of striker we should go for. I mean, I know that Parkinson likes his target men, and I already believe that we have that in Charlie Wright. I know Charlie Wright, we kind of label him as a target man, but he doesn't really win that much in the air. But if he isn't the target man, and he's definitely not a goal scorer, then what is the point in him having him here? Do you know what I mean? But I would have preferred a striker up top who was, it doesn't even necessarily have to be proven as such, but a more sort of direct, quick, pacier striker, which we will get onto another player that we did sign later on that almost fits the bill in that sense. But someone with a little bit more experience who has a pace and strength, etc. Whereas Lafferty, for me, I feel like we've just bought a taller Charlie White, and that's it really. So it didn't really inspire me in terms of the signing itself, but obviously I hope he proves me wrong. But we did get him on a free, he was a free agent, and he has signed a deal until the end of the season. So in terms of how I would rate that signing, I would probably give that a 5 out of 10, which might seem a bit harsh, but I just felt like it was an unnecessary signing and an easy signing for Stuart Donald to make, because I believe that, you know, we did have another couple of strikers who we were linked with. One of them in particular, who was somewhat of a proven goal scorer, and he was signed for, I think it was a Scottish team, I can't remember who he signed for now. It was Hearts he signed for, sorry. And that of course is Liam Boyce. Now Liam Boyce, he's scored goals throughout this league. He's always looked a danger every single time we've seen him. He's a completely different striker to what we've got at the club already. He was, I think he was running down his contract at Burton, and it's reported that Hearts only paid 150k for him. And there was also very strong rumours that we refused to pay that fee. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe in rumours entirely, and I can imagine Burton probably upped that price considering we're a League One rival, but I can't imagine it being by too much. But if we did back out of that purely because we didn't want to pay 150k, then that is absolutely ridiculous, because Stuart Donald's always been this guy who keeps like blabbering on about, you know, we've got this money, don't worry everyone, we're sound, we've got plenty of money in the bank. Yet you'll see there's a pattern throughout this January transfer window which probably is a decent argument against him having money in the bank. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to splash the cash on players for it to be a good window, but Stuart Donald did say beforehand that he would back the manager considerably and really go for it. And I think by the time we get to the end of this video you'll realise that those aren't necessarily true words. But anyway, so yeah, Kyle Lafferty, I give it a 5 out of 10. I just don't think it's a really inspiring one. Of course I wish and hope he does well for us, but I don't particularly believe he will. We needed a goal scorer, we still don't have one. And I think we're going to be relying heavily on the likes of Lyndon Gooch and Maguire to pop up with goals for the remainder of the season, because Charlie White gets one sort of like once every couple of months, and that's usually an accident. So we don't have a proper goal scorer, and I think all we really need is pace and a goal scorer, and we could piss this league because we are making chances, and when we are playing at our best, we rinse teams. We just don't have the goal scorer to really finish teams off at times. But anyway, so getting to the next signing, it is Bailey Wright, a loan signing. Of course, a loan signing. We don't like to spend money, but I was quite happy with the signing. I definitely believed that we needed more competition across the back line. We were getting quite settled with the likes of Ozturk, Lynch and Willis as well, which I don't mind. I don't mind a settled team. A settled team is a good team, but you also need competition so then people don't sort of rest on their laurels and believe that they just automatically get a place. You need to have competition to improve players in general, because they'll start training harder, they'll want to impress the manager more, and I thought that was a very good signing. But one thing I don't believe was right was how we just completely got rid of Ozturk in terms of like leaving him out the team the second Bailey Wright come in, because Ozturk definitely deserves his place in the squad. I've said it in previous match reviews. He's been very decent this season. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. Last season, don't get me wrong, he had a good couple of handfuls of blunders and mistakes. But this season, since he's been putting that back three, he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's been a real brick shithouse in the middle of that back three, and we've changed him up just to accommodate the new signing, who, to be fair, hasn't massively impressed so far. But in saying that, he's only had a couple of games really. But I'm hoping that Ozturk, well, I know it sounds bad, but I am kind of hoping that the excuse for Ozturk is that he's maybe picked up a knock or something, because he definitely doesn't deserve to be dropped out of the squad completely. That really isn't fair whatsoever. But Bailey Wright, I'd probably give that a good 6 or a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7, because I do believe that we needed some more cover and competition, and he does bring that experience. We did get him along from Bristol City. He was a captain there, so it's definitely a good sign. I can see why that signing was made, even if it is just on loan. But next up is Josh Scowen, or Scowen. I'm not too sure how I pronounce it. I'll probably say Scowen for the time being. But for me, I think that is actually a very, very good signing. It did go for an undisclosed fee. We're still not sure how long the contract is for. It still hasn't been publicised. It still hasn't been published. So I don't know whether that's just hiding the fact that it's a short-term deal again. I don't know. But he has signed on a permanent, which is good. He's come from QPR. And he's definitely the kind of player that I think we need. He's got that bit of tenacity in midfield. He can play as a sort of holding midfielder and more of an attacking midfielder. He can play on the right side of midfield. So he brings that versatility as well. And for me, he's the best signing out of the bunch that we are going to discuss today. Like I say, he's aggressive. He can break forward. He doesn't score that many goals, but from the goals I have seen him score, the very few he has scored, they've all been wonder goals. Do you know what I mean? Which is great. But he's very determined. He's got that bit of pace about him as well. So I think he could prove to be a really, really valuable player, and he gives us a completely different outlet in the centre of midfield. So for me, that is a very, very good signing, and I'm going to give that one a 9 out of 10, because I do believe that he will come through if given a run of games, particularly along the sides of, alongside Power. I think that'll look really good in the centre of midfield. Or if we need to bring Maguire off, who isn't going through a good run of games, or he's not in form, he could go on the right hand side as well, because he does have that tenacity and he can really press that back line. I think it's really good to have a player like that, and he's very comfortable on the ball as well. He's not going to take on 5, 6, 7 men. He's not that kind of player, but he will get at players. He's a direct runner, and I do like the look of him. So that is a very good signing for me. He's only 26 years of age, so it's not like he's really old or anything like that. So that is a good piece of business. I'd give that a good 9 out of 10, as I say. So that is a good signing from QPR for an undisclosed fee. And next up, we have the signing of Declan John on loan from Swansea. Now, if you guys do follow my FIFA career mode, I've been getting atted all over Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, because the second we were linked with this guy, I've been getting messages here, there and everywhere saying that, Parky must be watching my career mode, because I did sign him and he was great for me in career mode in FIFA, but that is just a video game, remember. But yeah, it was great to see him linked with us, and he's eventually signed for us. And for me, this is a very, very good signing, because we desperately needed competition for Denver Hume, because he's the only left back we have, and he's playing in a very specific role of a left wing back, which are quite few and far between these days as well. So to get a left-sided, left wing back, that's exactly what we needed, and they're very, very similar players. So to get two players who can compete with each other, who can play this system, because that is what he is as a left wing back. He can get forward, and he has a little bit of experience. We come from he's obviously come from Swansea, he's played for Cardiff, Rangers. He's got a little bit of experience under his belt. He just didn't really get the game time he would have wanted at this club he's at the moment. So that, yeah, I think that's a good signing. He is an exciting signing. He is only 24 years of age. But yeah, it is definitely a specialist signing, because, like I say, left wing backs are few and far between. So I would as well give this one a 9 out of 10, because I think we have found an identical replacement for Denver Hume. The only thing with Declan John, I believe that defensively, from what I've seen of him, he is quite poor, and I think Denver Hume is slowly but surely improving on that side. So I still believe that Denver Hume should be our first in line in terms of a left wing back. But Declan John, he needs to give Denver that experience of real competition as well, which I don't think he's had this season. So I do think that's a very, very good signing as well, even if it is just on loan until the end of the season. I'm very excited to see Declan John in action, but as of right now, I'd definitely keep Denver Hume, because Denver Hume for me has been our player of the season. Because even though when we went through our good patch recently, of course, you've got like some Maguire and Gooch grabbing all the headlines, we need to remember that when we were in really dire straits and we're playing really shit football and we're losing or dropping points constantly, Denver Hume was the only shining light for like a good 2 or 3 months. He was our only attacking threat, and I'll always remember that throughout this season. So for me, so far, Denver Hume is our player of the season, in my opinion anyway. But last but not least, we were all begging for some pace. We were begging for a pacey striker, and it looked as though we did get that on deadline day. with Antoine Semenyo from Bristol City, and again, it is a loan. Now, he is only 20 years of age, I do believe. He's still a very young lad. Was I particularly excited of signing him? No, only because from what I have seen of him, he looks very sort of. He looks like the kind of player that Kaz Sterling was, or Sinclair. I just don't want him to be one of those players, or a McNulty. You know, I feel like he could be one of those loans where he gets a little 10 minutes here and there. But from what I have seen of him, of course, if you look at his goal reel and stuff like that, he looks like a decent enough player. He's definitely got pace. He's definitely got flair. He can play on either side, so left or right, or he can play down the centre. And he's definitely got the attributes we wanted. But from what I have seen of him, he looks like his decision making's a little bit slow. I think greedy would be a bit too harsh, but almost along those lines. And being greedy isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you can back it up with a good goal scoring record, which unfortunately this lad doesn't have as of yet because he's a very young lad. So for me, when I did want my pace and my direct runner, as a striker, I would like someone a bit more sort of mature and a bit more sort of obviously older and a bit more experienced. That's what I would have wanted, someone who knows the league inside out, whereas Semenyo was still very raw. When we have the likes of Kimpioka who can do that, he's got the pace, he does have flair, and he's very raw as well. But hopefully he can prove me wrong. I just feel like we could have done a lot better in terms of what we needed. We, of course, definitely needed a left wing back. That's fantastic. We needed another midfielder to compete with the likes of Dobson and Power, and we did that. That's fantastic. But in the striking department, I think we were really let down there. I think we were really, really let down. Hopefully Semenyo does come good for us, but I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10 because, of course, I hope he proves me wrong. I might be eating my words come the end of the season and he might end up going to score 10 goals, do you know what I mean? Which would be absolutely crazy. That'd be awesome, and grab a bunch of assists. But unfortunately, I can't personally see that right now. But hopefully, again, I'm proved wrong. So in terms of the transfer window on a whole, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10, which might seem a bit harsh, but again, I just feel like, although we addressed the areas that we needed to address, I don't believe we addressed them with the correct players. Again, heading back to the striking department, we've got another target man, which I don't believe we necessarily needed. And I feel like with certain players that we got, for example, with Semenyo, I feel like we could have done a little bit better. But again, I hope he proves me wrong, but this is just my initial impression of the players that we have brought in. Now, with Stuart Donald, I know I did allude to it earlier on in the video, but I am getting very, very frustrated with this man. And I know he has done a lot of good things for the club, and I have said it before, and I am still Donald out. I still hold my hand to it, and I will say I'm Donald out. Because he did say he would back Parkinson. And I can 100% guarantee that Parkinson did have targets that weren't some of these players that were on the list, in which are the players that we brought in. But all we have spent is an undisclosed fee for Scowen, and we don't know how much that was. We don't know how long the deal is for either. So it just shows that he isn't backing the man, and he's skint. He keeps on boasting about how he's got this money, and again, I wasn't expecting us to buy a £10 million striker, do you know what I mean? But there were players out there that other teams were picking up that we could have gone for, but instead we've gone for the easy loan and free agent kind of route. We've gone down that route again. There's still a lot of players that are running out of contracts and still haven't been seen to, and I just feel like the longer he's with the club, it's going to turn to shit. It really is going to turn to shit. If we don't get promoted this season, then I believe we are well and truly fucked. Do you know what I mean? I really do. I do, especially if he's in charge still, because he just doesn't have any money for the club that this needs. A club this size needs, which sounds greedy of me, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And I think, you know, if Parky gets us up this season, that'd be amazing. And even still, then we need Donald out if we really want to compete, particularly in the Championship. If we do somehow, by some miracle, go up, Donald is not the right man to take us forward, unfortunately. But yeah, so on the whole, I give the transfer window a 6 out of 10. It really wasn't an inspiring window for me. We addressed the right areas, but I don't think we did address them with the right players, if that makes sense. But again, you let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the January transfer window. But if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.